You found another thrilling film. If it's boring, slap me. This is the most unsettling Korean movie ever, turning the camera on people around us. With a dark twist, it's chilling. The director uses 6 everyday stories to show human loneliness and desire. It wasn't until I finished watching this video that I realized it's often the more withdrawn people who are actually the scariest in real life. When the alarm clock rang, a man could be seen sneaking up to the door, pressing his ear against it as if trying to secretly recording the flight attendant's perfect figure on his phone. When she walked into the elevator, the man hurried to follow her, trying to. He cherished every chance to be near the flight attendant. Even just catching a whiff of her perfume would make him happy for the whole day. From the very first moment he saw her, he had fallen deeply in love. Just like the lyrics from Eason Chan's song, "What you can't have always stirs your heart." As his desire grew unchecked, the man gradually became obsessed. He couldn't even fall asleep peacefully at night without watching a few of his secretly recorded videos of her. The next day, while he was smoking on the balcony, he saw a young couple downstairs being affectionate. Everyone seemed to have someone, and for him, it was a blow. He could no longer bear the loneliness in his heart. He turned to crime. While the attendant was out, the man climbed the balcony railing and jumped into her apartment. Like a dog, he sniffed the air, inhaling her scent. Next, the man suddenly turned his head and threw himself onto the flight attendant's bed, trying to feel the warmth she left behind. In his perverse fantasies, he'd imagined this moment, but what he never expected was that at this very moment, a pair of eyes was watching him from inside the wardrobe. Of course, just lying on the bed wasn't enough to satisfy his desires, so he headed to the bathroom, took photos of the flight attendant's shower gel and body lotion, and then used her toothbrush to brush his teeth. That guy was over the moon, as if the whole world belonged to him in that moment. Suddenly, a noise came from outside. The flight attendant was back. The man panicked and scrambled around, finally hiding under the bed as the door opened. Returning from work, she entered and sensed an intruder. However, she didn't panic, instead unwinding as usual. The man watched her legs drop.
No.
He boldly walked to the bathroom door and pushed it open. The two locked eyes, and an awkward tension filled the room. The flight attendant didn't answer, just stared at her intently, giving the impression she had been waiting for a long time. The man thought he had successfully picked up the flight attendant, but he didn't expect that she was actually waiting for her own boyfriend. That guy scared the man out of his wits, especially with the boyfriend's fierce expression. The man was so terrified he couldn't even get a word out, and his legs started backing up uncontrollably. But just as he reached the wardrobe, to his shock, a fully wrapped corpse fell out from inside. If nothing unexpected was supposed to happen, well, this was definitely unexpected. Once he died, the couple searched the room, but her boyfriend's words changed everything.
Justice there.
Take a moment to really look at this particular scene that we are currently observing right here on the screen.
Shifts, the story moves to the second chapter of this film. A German woman is washing dishes at home when she's interrupted by a repairman at the door. His behavior is very odd. He keeps his head turned away from the door the entire time. He claims to be sent by the building management to check the fire alarm, so the woman doesn't think much of it and lets him in. Maybe he had been waiting outside for too long, because as soon as he enters, the repairman starts complaining. But when he sees that the person who opened the door is a beautiful woman, his attitude changes. His attitude does a complete 360, and then without the woman's permission, he just walks right into the room and plops himself down on the sofa. The woman feels a bit weirded out, but since she's home alone, she doesn't dare say anything to the repairman. If she makes a fuss, she might end up being the one in trouble, soaking in the bathtub of the woman's home. That's right, the woman living alone in front of them was actually the serial killer still at large, and the repairman never imagined he would end up becoming the prey. After that, the woman casually whistled as she headed to the kitchen, took out a dagger, and swaggered right up to the repairman. 364,364. If nothing unexpected happens, then nothing unexpected will happen. That's why there's a saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. As the scene shifts, the movie moves into its third segment. The second male lead is a Korean middle school student. Because he has been bullied by his classmates for a long time, his grades have dropped significantly. To punish him, his homeroom teacher assigns him a task, to do something useful for society. So, on his way home from school, while waiting for the bus by the roadside, the boy suddenly hears the sound of an elderly person crying out in pain from a distance. When the boy looked over to the side, he saw that an elderly person's wheelchair had gotten stuck in a tree pit. Noticing that no one was helping the old man, the boy gave up his bus ride home and helped arrive at the elevator, but the old man's daughter still hadn't come down, which made the boy feel very puzzled. After all, they had called her a long time ago. Just then, the elevator dinged. As expected, it should be his daughter. To thank his classmate, the old man once again took out photos of the puppy, telling him to take a good look, since he would soon be the puppy's new owner. The naive boy flipped through the photos one by one, but when he got to the fifth photo, he suddenly saw a picture of the old man holding a cigarette, with a tattooed man sitting next to him. Before he could react, the old man's hand had already grabbed the boy's backpack, because at that moment, the elevator had reached the third floor. The boy started coming up with all sorts of excuses to escape, but unexpectedly, the old man stood up right away. See that? 2 men rushed from the elevator, and the boy dropped his bag and bolted. He finally realized the old man was a trafficker. The bad guys closed in from all sides. Just as he reached the exit, a hand covered his face, and he was dragged away as the last bit of light faded. No one knows how much time passed before the old man staggered to the entrance of a clothing store, already sizing up his next target. As the scene shifts, the story moves into the fourth chapter of the film. A woman meets someone online. Their compatibility is extremely high, and after chatting for a long time, they agree to meet tonight. Just then, a news alert pops on arrival. A murder occurred. Was the stranger in front of her actually her date?
So why did you suddenly do that?
After that, the man stabbed the woman more than a dozen times, blood spraying like a fountain all over the elevator. The woman just couldn't figure out how she could be so unlucky. Right after seeing the news, she herself became the next victim. At this point, the movie's story moves into its fifth chapter. The man in front of us, because he had met the woman who died in the previous chapter, almost became a suspect. If he hadn't had an alibi, he might have ended up spending the rest of his life in prison. His friend with bangs advised him about using these social apps. He thought it was totally unreliable. How could you possibly find the right partner just based on zodiac signs and blood type? But Bangs wouldn't listen to his nonsense at all, so he ended the dinner early and planned to head home. On his way back, he saw a vending machine by the roadside. After selecting a can of Coke, he found a heart-shaped note at the dispenser. At first, he thought someone else had left it behind, but when he saw there was a Korean won bill and an envelope inside, it immediately piqued Bang's interest.
Even gay people wouldn't get excited about this. A world full of heartbreak doesn't mean you shouldn't feel pain. Sometimes your heart just can't take it anymore. No need.
Chi Lu-hai was uninterested, so he replaced the envelope and left. Yet, learning it was only a short walk away, he decided to check it out. Maybe he'd meet a beautiful woman and end his single life early. However, arriving excitedly, he just found another vending machine with an envelope inside.
Peter's just a cool cat. Even if people sympathize, you still need someone to guide you, like Luffy on his journey.
With the mindset of, since I'm already here, Chi Liu-hai kept moving forward. He counted his steps as he walked, and when he saw another vending machine ahead, he hurried over and skillfully took out the envelope inside.
What's your zodiac sign? My zodiac sign is Andromeda, and I hope yours is the yellow rat. Gold.
The compatibility rate between Taurus and Virgo got it, the more excited she became, so she couldn't wait to head off and track down the destination. In the middle of the road, there was a heart shape made out of fresh flowers, and Lu-hai stepped right into it without hesitation. Then she dialed the number written on the envelope. Adjust the volume.
Wow. After confirming all the information,
The young woman who is standing right over there in the middle of the room?
told her to stand.
In the flower circle and not move, saying she would come find her right away. The more Liu-hai thought about it, the more excited and happier she became. After all, who could say no to such a beautiful girl? So she couldn't help but take out her phone to snap a picture of the welcome gift the girl had proposed, already enough to make her irritable, and running into this kind of customer made her feel like she could just die. After finishing another night of delivery work, the woman rode her little electric scooter home, bored and exhausted. Because she couldn't afford much, she had to eat cheap canned vegetables every day. Once she'd satisfied her hunger, she lay on her bed and started scrolling on her phone. Unexpectedly, a post on social media caught her attention. The poster said he had killed someone and now he didn't know what to do. He wanted advice from the many netizens, so he went to the comments section, but everyone there was just trying to scare him. Half joking and half venting, the woman commented that he should first drain the blood from the body, then cut it into pieces and throw it out with the household trash. She thought the poster was just trying to get attention, but to her surprise, the next day he posted again, saying that her method really worked and that he had almost finished disposing of the body. Nobody believed him. They thought it was just his imagination, lives in the human heart. It could be a repairman's remark, an old man's coercion, or online malice. We must stay vigilant, hold on to kindness, resist evil thoughts, and refuse to be an accomplice. While protecting ourselves, we must also not trample on the goodwill of others and not let loneliness and despair become the breeding ground for evil thoughts. After all, the norm in this world shouldn't be fear and malice, but kindness and warmth. If each of us can hold fast to our moral bottom line, show a little more kindness, stay a little more vigilant, and offer a little more understanding, then those abysses hidden in our daily lives, those spreading evil thoughts, will gradually be illuminated and dispelled, bit by bit. And perhaps that is what the new normal truly means. This leaves us with the most profound lesson. Alright, that's all for today's story. I'm Kiki, and I look forward to our next meeting.